So we are going to start today. I would encourage you to have two blocks and a blanket and a strap. I'm missing a block for some reason. Oh, it's behind me. And we're going to go ahead and get started by having a seat. So you can sit on either a block, a blanket, you can sit cross-legged, you can sit fascia style, you can sit however you would like to. And I'm going to hide self-view just because that's distracting. Okay. And then the first thing that you're going to do is just take a moment to really sit tall. So if you need to remove any flesh from underneath your sit bones, go ahead and do that. And then allow the eyes to close. And in that internal space, I want you to feel like you can spread super wide through your sit bones. And then once you feel like you've got this wide base, start to stack the vertebrae right on top of each other. So every single bone in the lumbar spine and the thoracic spine and the cervical spine just sort of stacks right on top of each other. They find their natural curves. Once you're there, you might slide the shoulder blades down the back, relax any tension around the mouth or the eyes. And then you'll bring one hand to rest on the heart and one hand to rest on the abdomen. And once you're there, see if you can just take 3 to 5 slow, deep breaths. And as best as you can, you're filling the breath into the hands evenly. So the chest and the belly both extend at the same rate, and the chest and the belly soften at the same rate. You're just breathing into the belly and into the chest. And you're exhaling belly and chest. And as you continue to breathe in this dimension, the forward dimension, imagine that now you have, for some reason, 2 extra sets of hands that are in the back of your body. One again at the back, maybe between the shoulder blades, and then another one in the low back. And so now you'll breathe into the hands in the front of the body and the hands at the back of the body at the same rate. So we're just starting to fill the torso with breath. And then imagine for some reason you have 2 more hands. And now these hands are on the right side and the left side of the torso. So now you're going to breathe into the front of the body, the back of the body, and the sides of the body. And then you exhale and everything comes back to the middle of the body. You just take a few more breaths like that, just filling the whole container of your torso evenly with breath, front, back, right, left. And at the end of this next exhalation, you'll simply allow the hands to rest back onto the thighs. And you'll just take 3 breaths on your own and notice what it feels like in this moment to be fully present, to be fully connected with what's happening here and now. Our practice this week is really focused on the niyama, or rather the yama of Satya, truthfulness. And a lot of times I think that the best way for us to be truthful is for us to be present. We're not focused about what happened in the past, and we're not anticipating what may happen in the future, but we're just right here, right now. So keeping your hands as they are, maybe keeping the gaze closed, you'll inhale and pull your heart forward through the gates of your arms, and maybe the chest lifts, maybe the gaze lifts. And then as you exhale, you'll draw the belly back, you'll round the spine. You'll just take 3 more just like that. Inhaling, finding seated cow shape. And then exhaling, finding a seated cat shape. Because your hands are on your thighs, you might choose to use the pull of your hands to help emphasize or exaggerate the flexion and the extension of your spine. And you're just staying with your breath. The next time you inhale and come forward, we'll start to sweep our ribs over to the right and then back behind you and then over to the left. And then you inhale, come back forward again. And then exhaling over to the right, back behind you and inhaling over to the left. And you've got 2 more just like that on your own. And you're making these circles as big or as small as you want. You're letting your head participate if it wishes to. Maybe the throat opens a little bit, maybe it doesn't. And then this next time you come forward, you'll pause. And then you'll exhale and round through the spine, finding your cat shape. And then inhale, finding your cow shape. So 3 more, just like that. Little seated cats and cows. Noticing if you notice anything different between the sides. Fantastic. And then the next time you come forward, you'll go ahead and then start to circle to the left and back behind you and over to the right and forward again. And you've got 3 more of these on your own, and you're just sensing, you're feeling into the body, you're feeling into the breath, noticing how that feels. Maybe your circles include your head movement. Maybe it's just in the rib cage. Maybe it's really interesting to explore what's happening in your pelvis. Fantastic. The next time you come center, you'll just go ahead and pause there, and you'll take just 2 cats and cows, finding again a central neutral spine. After you've taken your second cow shape, go ahead and find yourself in neutral. And then again, just stack the vertebra right on top of each other. Notice how it feels now. From here, you'll start to drop your chin to your chest, and you'll crawl yourself forward onto hands and knees. At this point, I would encourage you to bring your blocks to the upper outer corners of your space. I would encourage you also to maybe pad your knees. Can't tell if the sound is losing, Roberta. I heard a do-do-do-do-do. Okay. Somebody at home, please let me know if you can't hear me at some point. Cool. And so, well, they'll unmute themselves and they'll tell me I can't hear you. Okay. So when you're on hands and knees, let's go ahead and drop your bellies to the floor and then drop your head to the floor. So we're going to be sad little cows for a little bit. And I want you to, what? This is so sad. I can't hear any of Sandy's little side comments now. But drop your belly, drop your head, really press the hands firmly into the floor and just take 3 breath cycles here. And you're just seeing if you can keep the elbows pretty straight, really letting the belly drop. And then notice if you're still attuned and connected to your breath right here in this moment. The next time you want to exhale, you'll start to pull your belly away from the floor and into your spine. You'll round through the spine. You'll drop your tail. You'll drop your head, and you'll find your Halloween cat. Take a moment to breathe here as you press the floor away and scoop the abdominal organs in. Yeah. On your next in-breath, start to articulate from the pelvis to lower your belly to the floor, to lower your chest to the floor, to lift your gaze, finding your cow. And then exhale, find your cat. And you'll just take 3 more like this, finding your breath, really noticing how now that you have the push of the floor, you might find more articulation through the vertebra of the spine than you did when you were seated. And you'll just start to feel how that feels. Got 2 more on your own. Nice work. After this next exhalation, you'll inhale and you'll come to a neutral spine. Some of you will take your left fingertips and flip your left fingertips to face back towards your left knee. And you might shift your weight back just a little bit so you can get a little stretch across the forearm of your left hand. Notice if you stopped breathing and see if you can come back to that. Inhale, come forward. Flip the back of the left palm to the floor so that the palm faces up, and then you'll shift your weight back a little bit and you'll now feel a stretch across the front of your forearm. You might bend your elbow a little bit and see how that feels, and you just play with that. Go ahead and maybe circle out that left wrist and then plant the left hand, and we'll switch sides. So spin your right fingertips to face your right knee. Shift your weight back slightly so you feel a nice stretch across the heel up towards the elbow on the right hand. And shift your weight forward. Bring the back of the right palm to the floor, fingers face towards your right knee. And then again, shift your weight back. You might bend your right elbow like a little prancing pony doing, I learned this, what is that called? Crap. I totally can't hear any of Sandy's comments. This is going to drive me crazy. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and come to neutral. From here, let's go ahead and curl both sets of toes under, gaze forward, and you're going to start to press your bum up and back for downward facing dog. Once you find yourself in your downward facing dog, see if you can keep your hands pretty active, pressing down through the fingertips and lifting up through the heels of your hands. And then you might choose to bend one knee. You might choose to bend the other knee. But again, notice if you're breathing and see how that's going. Fantastic. And then let's go ahead and come to stillness. On your next in-breath, inhale and come forward into plank pose. Once you're here, just take a moment to pause, push down through the hands, lift up through the armpits, and take a deep breath in. On your next in-breath, shift your weight forward. And as you exhale, bend the elbows, hugging the elbows back as you reach the heart forward and lower chest, thighs at the same time. Yeah. Once you're there, extend the tops of your feet onto the floor. Isometrically pull your hands back as you draw your shoulders onto your back body, and then pull your heart forward a few inches. Next exhale, lower all the way down. Curl both sets of toes under, scoop your belly and press to hands and knees. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. And then you'll just take a moment to pause, and you'll take a moment to breathe. And you just notice how the body is working right here and right now. On your next in-breath, go ahead and sweep your right leg up and back. Take a moment to pause here, hug your inner thighs together, reach up higher through your right foot, and then as you exhale, draw your right knee to your nose, pause. Hover here, squeezing your heel to your bum to your heel, rounding through your spine, and then plant your right foot between your hands. From here, you might want to bring your hand onto your blocks. Great. From there, draw your outer right hip back, lift your left thigh a bit, and then see if you can pull your heart forward and through. Now you might walk the left hand closer to your right foot. You might bring your right hand to the outside edge of your right thigh. Inhale, reach your heart and sternum forward, and then as you exhale, scoop your belly on the right side and start to revolve your chest towards the right. Hug your outer left hip in just a bit, yep. And then you might reach your right arm up towards the sky. And you'll just take 3 breath cycles here, noticing how the breath is working, seeing if you can elongate from tail to crown, and then let the chest open up. Nice work. On your next exhale, lower your right hand back down to the floor. Now take a moment to step your left hand a little bit to the left. You might also step your left foot a little bit to the left. Start to push down into your feet and make your fingertips light. Scoop your belly and then bring your hands to your front thigh. And bring your hands to your hips. Cool. So we're going to push into front foot. We're going to push into back foot. We're going to lift our chest. And then we're going to start to bend our back knee and maybe tap it towards the blanket. And then we're going to come back up. We're going to just do 2 more like that. So nice, steady breaths. The blanket is a very long way away. I heard that one. Okay, your last one. Awesome sauce. From here, let's go ahead and bring our hands back down to the floor. Bend your back knee and step to the top of your space. Now, once you get to the top of your space, go ahead and separate your feet hip distance apart. And then maybe you grab opposite elbow, really hooking your thumbs into your elbow creases. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice the difference between the right side and the left side. Fantastic. When you're ready, let's go ahead and release our hands back down to the blocks. And then bring your hands to the floor. Bend your knees and step yourself back to downward facing dog. From down dog, we'll go ahead and inhale and come forward into plank. Pause in plank, take a deep breath in. On your next exhale, shift your weight forward, hug your elbows back, lower chest, belly, and thighs all at the same time. Yep, nice. Inhale, pull yourself forward, little baby cobra. And you're just pausing. And then exhale, lower all the way down. Curl both sets of toes under, scoop your belly in, push up to hands and knees, and then exhale back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice what you notice. Big, deep, smooth breath. Nice work. On your next in-breath, sweep your left leg up and back. Hug your inner thighs together and then reach your left heel a little higher. Exhale, left knee to nose, round through your spine. Hug your heel to your butt to your heel, and then step your foot between your hands. Yeah. From here, take a moment to pause. Walk your hands onto your blocks if you did on the first side. And then you'll probably walk your right block closer to your left foot. You'll pull your outer left hip back. You'll lift your right thigh and then bring your left hand to the outside edge of your left thigh. Pull your heart forward and then start to scoop your left low belly away from the left thigh, rotating your chest to the left. And you might stay there, or you might start to reach your left hand up towards the sky. Keep hugging your outer right hip in, so kindly tone your right glute. Yep. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and lower that left hand back down. Separate your right hand a little bit to the right. You might need to step your right foot a little bit to the right. From there, push down into the feet, make the fingertips light, and then start to bring the spine up, hands to front thigh. Great. And then hands to hips. And just as we did before, you're going to start to bend your back knee and tap it down towards the blanket or floor. And then you come back up. And I think we did about 5 on the other side. You're going to do about 5. We did 3. Wow, I can count. So Roberta told us we did 3, so we did 3. I mean, I didn't think we were counting, but I thought we did 5, but okay. All right, let's go ahead and finish this one. Bring your hands to the floor. Bend your back knee, step to the top of your space, feet hip distance apart. This is why we need you to count for me, Roberta, and then you'll just pause here and you'll hang for a few moments. And just feel how that feels. Now, see if you can spread wide through your toes. Choose your own adventure here. Some of you will keep your legs straight. Some of you will bend your knees. All of you will keep your head heavy. You'll slowly roll up your spine bone by bone. And you'll just notice if your legs want to be straight or if your legs want to be bent. But you're going to just slowly roll up bone by bone by bone by bone. And when you find yourself finally vertical, take the opportunity to roll the shoulders up, back, and down. And then just notice what it feels like to be vertical. Great. From here, let's go ahead and inhale, circle sweep arms up and overhead. Grab your left wrist, reach up with your left hand, and then little baby side bend towards the right. And again, keep rooting down through your left foot. Maybe draw your right shoulder forward a little bit and breathe into your left side body. Next inhalation, you'll come up through center. As you exhale, lower the hands down. Maybe circle the shoulders again, but just notice what it feels like to be here. And then when you're ready, we'll try it on the other side. So you'll inhale and circle sweep arms up and overhead. Grab your right wrist, reach up through your right hand, and little baby side bend towards the left. And again, really root down into your right foot. Draw your left shoulder forward just a little. Yep. And then breathe into your right side body. Nice work. Inhale, come up through center. Exhale, lower the hands down. Again, maybe a few more shoulder circles, just feeling what this feels like. Okay, last thing. Bring your hands to the back of your head. Interlace your hands and hold at the back of the skull. Pull your elbows forward and lean your head back. So elbows forward, lean the head back. Pull the hands forward into the skull, the elbows forward and lean back. Little upper chest back bend. Inhale, come back to neutral. Lower your hands down and interlace your hands at your low back. Draw the shoulders up towards your ears, shoulder blades together on the back. And when you're ready, you'll just start to fold forward at your hips. Once you get halfway down, you might keep your hands there, or you might decide that you're going to let the head fall and the hands will reach up towards the sky. But just notice what it feels like here. Can you find the length on your side body from your armpits to your hips? Are you still breathing? Is the breath full and deep? Great. On your next in-breath, draw the hands back to your bum. Slide them down the legs. And then inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back, downward facing dog. Bless you. Bless you. From down dog, inhale, roll your spine forward into plank. Exhale back to downward facing dog. 2 more just like that. And you're just rolling through your spine, just like we did when we rolled to stand. So tailbone ripples forward into skull. Nice work. All right, this next time you come forward into plank, you'll stay there. Take a breath in, take a breath out. Inhale, shift your weight forward, and exhale, lower all the way down. Great. This time, let's pay close attention. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to press down into our pinky toes. We're pressing into your toenails, so the pinky toenails, the tops of the shoelace press into the floor. Then you'll press down into your pubic bone. You'll isometrically pull your hands back to pull your heart forward. And then you notice that that lifts your shoulders, so you'll keep that. Now spread from your thumbs out towards your pinky fingers, and you notice how that engages your shoulder blades on the back. Yeah. And then see if you can hug your shoulder blades towards each other. Yep. And then the elbows come towards each other. Yep. Fantastic. And then some of you will stay right here. Some of you will decide to reach so far back through your toenails that they'll just start to float off the floor. Yeah. And then did you notice that your chest lifted when you did that? You're going to keep that and you're going to breathe. And some of you might float your hands an inch away from the floor, hugging the shoulder blades together, pulling the heart forward, reaching the toes back. Fantastic. On your next exhalation, lower all the way down. Now, curl the toes under. Your choice. You can press up to hands and knees or down or plank pose, and then we'll make our way back to downward facing dog. Yep, 3 breaths. And you just notice, you pause and you breathe. And you see how it feels once you finally make it back to your downward facing dog. Nice work. Let's move on. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, cross your right knee to your left elbow. Pause, draw your right knee to the center of your body, and then plant your right foot between your hands. Wasn't that fun? Next to in-breath, bring your hands to your blocks, plant down through both of your feet, and then inhale, come up for high crescent lunge. Nice work. Cool. Now we're just going to do one of these. As you exhale, you'll cactus your elbows, you'll bend your back knee, you'll tap it down. You'll inhale, you'll come back up. Next exhale, open to Virabhadrasana 2. So spin your back foot down, reach out through both hands. Now take a moment to check in. Where's your front foot in comparison to your back foot? Do you need to adjust? For me, I wiggle walk my foot a little bit, but you choose what works for you. And then once you've found that, notice if you can press down to the knife edge of your back foot. If you can find length on your right side as you reach back for your left hand. Next, in-breath, reach up through your right hand, lower your left hand to touch your thigh or shin for Viparita Virabhadrasana. And you just take a moment to pause, and you take a moment to breathe. Pull that outer right hip back just a smidge. Yep. Next, in-breath, come back to Warrior 2. As you exhale, lower the right forearm to the top of the right thigh. Extend your left arm alongside your ears for extended side angle. Now, when we're in this shape, make sure that your right elbow isn't just dumping into your right thigh, but you've got some lift. Push down through the feet and hug the feet towards each other. Some of you will stay here. Some of you will reach your left arm up, turn your left palm to face behind you, and bring the left hand back, and maybe you touch the back of your, I don't know, what is that? Your right hip. Maybe you touch the inside edge of the right thigh. You draw the right shoulder forward. You draw the left shoulder blade back, and you see if you can breathe here. Nice work. If you took that half bind on your next in-breath, reach the left hand back and just come back to Warrior 2. Yeah, Fantastic. Go ahead and exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the floor, pivot to the ball of your back foot, step yourself back to downward facing dog. Great. From here, inhale, come forward into plank. Exhale, lower through Chaturanga Dandasana. Then inhale to your cobra or your up dog, whatever feels better to you. And then exhale, lower down. Make your way back to downward facing dog, either hands and knees or plank. And then you just take a moment to pause and you take a moment to breathe. And some of us, well, you all have the same matching water bottle. I just realized that. Okay. And then let's go ahead and try the other side. Inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. As you exhale, cross your left knee to your right elbow. Then draw your knee to the middle of your body and then put the foot between the hands. Nice job, guys. Take a moment to bring your hands to your blocks. Really press down into your feet, make your hands light, and then inhale, come all the way up for high crescent lunge. Nice work. And we're just going to do one of these. So you're going to take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, you'll bend the elbows and bend the back knee down. Inhale, come back up. As you exhale, open to warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Great. Now, once you've opened up, adjust your foot so your hips feel happy with where you are. Press down on the knife edge of your back foot. Oh, that's good on this side. And keep finding space, especially on your left side ribs. Draw your outer left hip back and make sure we're staying engaged on the whole outside of that right thigh. When you're ready, reach your left arm up, lower your right hand to the right thigh, and take Viparita Karani. Viparita Karani. Viparita Virabhadrasana, too many words. And you just pause and breathe. Next in breath, come back up to warrior two. As you exhale, reach forward through the left hand, lower the left forearm to the top of the left thigh, extend the right arm alongside your ears. Now on this side, let's see if we can really focus on finding length across the front of our right side body and make sure that we're finding engagement in our feet. So our left forearm is just lightly on our left thigh. Yeah. And find a little bit more length in our left side ribs, the under ribs. Yep. Some of you will stay here. Some of you will reach that right arm up, turn your palm to face behind you, and then bend the elbow and maybe draw the hand back to touch your left hip or low back. Then draw the right shoulder blade onto the back. The left shoulder blade comes forward and you just pause and you breathe. And then when we're ready to come out of this shape, if you've got the half bind, you're just going to reach the arm back to bring yourself up to warrior two. Great. Next exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the floor, low lunge. Step yourself back, downward facing dog. When you're ready, you'll inhale and come forward into plank. Exhale through Chaturanga. Inhale to an up dog or cobra. And then make your way back to downward facing dog. Great. And then you just pause and you breathe. Where in this moment can you bring a little bit more attention to this body that you're inhabiting? So maybe it's feeling the connection between your hands and the surface beneath you. Maybe it's finding length in the ribs and the hips, buoyancy in the armpits. Yeah. All right. On your next in-breath, raise to the balls of your feet. As you exhale, bend the knees, empty the belly, step or float, top of space. When you get to the top of your mat, go ahead and separate the feet hip distance apart. Again, you might clasp opposite elbow, or you might bring the hands to the back of your head. Now, if you bring your hands to the back of the head, it does create more stress, strain, stretch on the back line of your body. You just notice that. Specifically, if you push your head into your hands and your hands into your head. So you just notice that. And then very gently, you'll release your hands to the floor. Root down into your feet. And then again, we're going to roll up the spine bone by bone, knees straight or knees bent. It's totally up to you, but just take your time coming up to stand. Let the head be the last thing to come to vertical. And when you get there, just take 3 breaths. Circling the shoulders back, letting the vertebra just stack on top of each other, head lifts, feet plant. Okay. Let's move on. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. As you exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Now we're going to start to press our hands into each other, shift the weight into our right foot, and start to float our left knee up towards our chest. Now, engaging your outer left hip, open your left knee to the left, and then see if you can bring your left foot to touch your right thigh or shin, wherever it wants to go. Wherever it goes, you're like, maybe I don't like that. So maybe you use the hand to readjust. Great. From here, some of you will keep your hands right here at heart center, and you'll just push your sternum into your heart or into your thumbs and your thumbs into your sternum. Some of you might bring your hands to your low back. And wherever you are, if your hands are at your low back, maybe you interlace the fingers, maybe you don't, but we'll see if we can lift our chest. We'll root down through our right leg, and maybe we'll lift our gaze a little bit. But you just pause and you breathe. Great. And any wobbles are great. Notice how the foot works very hard to keep your balance. Gently release that, bringing hands back to heart center if they left. Draw your left foot back towards the floor and just take a moment to let both feet settle. Maybe wiggle around if you need to. Just notice what that feels like. And we'll try the other side. So inhale, circle, sweep arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Really press the hands into each other to find that connection. Shift the weight to your left leg and let your right knee become light, floating your right knee up, flexing through the foot. Now hug your outer right hip to the right and see if you can bring the right foot to touch the left thigh or calf, wherever it goes. And if it's not where you want it, use your hand and replant or replace. And then again, you might just stay here, really rooting down, pressing sternum into thumbs, thumbs into sternum. You might release hands behind you, taking awkward opposite interlace. Drawing shoulders onto back and heart lifts. And whatever's happening, it's okay. You just pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. Fantastic. Gently release hands back to heart center. Whoa. Draw your right leg forward. Whoa. And plant the right foot down. Okay, let's add on. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold forward at your hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. From here, inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back, plank pose. Cycle through an up dog or cobra if you'd like, and then make your way back to downward facing dog. Great. When you find yourself in down dog, you'll just take 3 breaths there. So check in with this moment and notice what you're noticing in the breath. Notice what you're noticing in the body. How are things shifting in this moment? How are they alive and active and alert in this moment? All right, let's move on. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, bend the right knee, open and stack the right hip, and just feel what that feels like, really drawing your outer left hip back, lifting your right knee higher. Cool. As you exhale, draw your right knee to your left elbow. Draw the knee to the center. Plant your foot between your hands. Fantastic. This time we'll bring our hands to our blocks again. We'll step our left foot to the left a little bit. And while we're here, I would encourage you to just slide your blanket underneath you. Great. Okay. So let's plant our back foot for warrior 1. And then you're going to really just start to make your hands light and start to bring your spine up to vertical. And then just as we did before, bring your hands to your hips. Great. Draw your shoulder blades on your back, lift your heart up. From here, inhale, circle, sweep arms up and overhead. Maybe the arms or the hands touch, maybe they don't, but you just find a little bit of lift, find a little bit of breath. Nice work. On your next exhale, hands open out. They come back behind you. You interlace your fingers at the webbing. Draw the shoulders up towards the ears, shoulder blades onto the back, heart lifts. And then when you're ready, head draws down towards the inner right thigh, inner right knee, inner right ankle. Arms reach up and back behind you. And you pause. See if you can draw your outer right hip back a little bit more, Julie, and let your head come a little bit more towards your right. There we go. Gently bring your hands to your bum. Draw your hands to the floor or the blocks beneath you. Cool. Pivot to the ball of your back foot. Come to a low lunge, and then you're going to lower your back knee down to the blanket. From here, you might turn your blocks up a tick, and you might stay here. And this is perfectly fine. You're just going to reach your heart forward. Some of you will bring hands to the top of your right thigh. And again, you might stay here. You're going to push down into front foot, push down into back knee, suck those points together, and then draw the top of your left thigh back. And some of you will stay here and be like, yep, that's enough of a quad stretch for me. Some of you will shift your weight forward a little bit. You'll bend your back knee. You'll take your left hand and grab the outside edge of your left foot. And then you'll draw your heel and your butt back towards each other. For me, I find I like the block there. It just gives me a little bit wider of a base. So it helps me to have my hand on it, but you might keep your hand on your right thigh. And we're just trying to make sure the stretch is in the belly of our thighs. If you feel it too much in your knee or too much in your hip, come forward a little bit and it allows it to stay in the belly of the thigh. Great. From here, mindfully release your left foot. Bring your hands back down to the floor. Straighten your back leg long and step yourself back to downward facing dog. And just take a moment to pause and be there. Notice how that feels between the sides. If you'd like, cycle through an up dog or cobra, or stay exactly as you are. You just pause and you breathe. You pause and you breathe. You pause and you breathe. Nice. Awesome. And then from down dog, we'll try the other side. So inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. As you exhale, bend the knee open and stack the hip. Draw your outer right hip back. Keep lifting through your right armpit area. Yep. Next exhale, cross the knee to your right elbow. Draw the knee to the middle. Plant the foot between your hands. Yeah, look at you guys go. Good job. Then from here, hands come to our blocks. We'll spin our right foot down for warrior one. Nice work. Now, once you're there, really start to press into your feet so you can make your hands light. And then you'll push into the feet and bring the spine all the way up to vertical. Great. Now from here, let's go ahead and inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead, and you just pause. Still bending into your front knee, reaching up, and noticing if you can soften any tension around shoulders or face. Next exhale, we'll go ahead and interlace hands behind low back, awkward opposite interlace. Draw shoulders up towards ears, draw shoulder blades together on the back, heart lifts. And then when you're ready, scoop the belly and start to draw your head down towards the floor. Maybe to the left thigh. Yep. Inner left knee, inner left ankle. You're still hugging your outer left hip back. And you're just pausing and you're breathing. Laura, draw your outer left hip back towards the back of your space. There we go. On your next exhale, release your hands to your bum, slide your hands to the floor or the blocks beneath you. Pivot to the ball of your back foot, and then lower your back knee down to the mat. From here, you might just stay here. You might turn your blocks up a tick. And you might bring your hands to the belly of your thigh. Wherever we are, let's go ahead and push into our left foot, push down into our right knee, suck those points together, And then bring your attention to the top of your right thigh and draw it back as you keep pulling your right knee forward. Now, some of you will stay right here. On this side, this feels like more than enough for me, so I'm gonna stay here. Some of you might shift your weight forward a little bit in order to bend your right knee, reach around with your right hand, and grab your right foot with your right hand. But you just pause and you breathe. We're trying to find the stretch on the belly of our right thigh. If you're holding that right foot, make sure the shoulder blade's back and our faces are soft. And you just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. Nice work. Next in-breath, mindfully release that back foot if you've got it. Shift your weight forward. Plant your hands on the mat, straighten your back leg long, and then step back to downward facing dog. From here, again, stay, or you might cycle through an up dog or a cobra, your choice. Up dog or cobra, your choice. Great. From downward facing dog, let's go ahead and press to the balls of our feet and then walk or step yourself or float yourself to the top of your space one more time. Nice. And then again, find your feet hip distance apart. Really root down through the feet, really let your head be heavy. And now this time, just notice what variation you want to take in your forward fold. Do you want to grab elbows? Do you want to grab back of head? Do you want to do just grabbing your feet, putting your hands under the soles of your feet? Just notice what feels good to you here. And just take a couple breaths. Go ahead and release your hands from whatever variation they're in. And then very last time, rolling up the spine. This time I really want you to see if you can start with your tailbone and then feel all the lumbar spine and then all the thoracic spine and then the cervical spine, just starting to that. Great. And then when you're top, or standing up again, soften the gaze, close the eyes, and just notice what it feels like to be standing now. 3 breaths. Can the heart remain open? The shoulder blades slide down the back. Okay. Last time. Inhale, circle, sweep arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands back to heart center. Shift the weight to your right foot. Draw your left knee up. Take Vrikshasana once again. So tree pose. And you just notice how this time might be different. It might be the same. It's okay. Now, as we're here on this set, you might start to reach, you might start to reach your hands up. You might keep your hands as they are, but we're really focusing on being okay with what's happening in this moment. Sometimes the ankle wobbles, sometimes we wobble, but it's all okay. How are you breathing? How are you responding in this moment? Yeah. Soften the face. Fantastic. When you're ready, come back. Lower the foot down. We'll try the other side. So if you need to wiggle, you wiggle. You don't need to wiggle, you don't wiggle. We'll try the other side. Inhale, circle, sweep the arms. Exhale, hands through heart center. Press the hands together, shift the weight to the left foot, float the right leg up. We'll externally rotate the leg, and then plant the foot wherever it connects. Maybe you adjust, maybe you don't. Maybe hands stay at heart center, maybe they float up. And wherever you are is perfectly okay. What's happening right now is perfectly wonderful, no matter what or what isn't happening. And then when you're ready, you slowly come out. Replant the right foot. Shake and wiggle it out if you'd like. Okay. Last thing. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold forward at your hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back, downward facing dog. Okay, so now we're gonna go straight into pigeon. So inhale, sweep your right leg up. As you exhale, draw the right knee forward, lower the right shin down. Yeah, look at that. All those knee to nose things helped with that quite a bit. Okay. No, I thought it did. Okay. Yeah, right? It wasn't just torture. Okay. And then some of you are going to play with how you want to be here. Some of you might want your blocks. Some of you might want to put a blanket underneath your back hip, underneath your back knee, but you're going to play here for a few moments and a few breaths. We're prepping ourselves to go into a back bend. And so we're just making sure that we can actually open up our hips. And so I find that for me, I have to bend my back knee, push down into my back knee, look a little bit over my right shoulder in order to find a stretch on my outer right hip. But you might find that you have to do something else. So see what you have to do to find a stretch on the outer right hip. Oh, and you got about 2 more breath cycles here. And you just pause and you breathe and you explore. And then when you're ready, we're going to come out of that. So you curl the back toes under, you'll push through the hands, you'll lift yourself up and back. Downward facing dog. And then when you're ready, you'll try the other side. So you'll lift your left leg up. You'll draw your left leg through. You'll lower your left shin down and set yourself up for pigeon on the second side. And then again, notice, do you need hands on block? Do you want to put a blanket underneath your left hip? Do you need a block? What do you need? Maybe you peer over your left shoulder, but you're paying attention to finding what's working for you. I think one of the interesting things about playing with Satya is there are, of course, the 3 noble things that we're supposed to always do. You're supposed to always ask yourself, whatever you're saying true, right? And you're supposed to ask yourself, is it kind? Meaning we don't need to say things that aren't kind. And then the last one, is it necessary? You know? But oftentimes I think we lose sight of this when we get caught in the past or get caught in the future or anticipation of the future, that we fall out of practice with this. All right, you got 1 more breath cycle here. When you're ready to come out, we'll curl the back toes under, lift the back leg up, push the hands down with the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Fantastic. And then our very last one, let's go ahead and inhale and come forward into plank. Exhale, lower slower than you want to, all the way onto your bellies. Great. Okay. When we find ourselves on our bellies this time, we are going to separate our feet hip distance apart. We're going to press our toenails down into the mat. We're going to push down until the hands asymmetrically pull the hands back to floor apart forward. Then lift the ears in line with the tops of the shoulders. Keep pulling the hands back. Keep pressing the thumbs out towards the fingers and see if you can drive the shoulder blades onto the back. Now from here, you'll start to reach so far back through the feet that the legs lift. And that allows you to lift the chest and lift the thigh. Great. You might have to lower a little bit to flip your hands back or up and away from the floor. Slide your hands back. Then put your hands down again. Pull your hands back. Pull your feet down. Pull your heart forward. Pull your heart forward. Push the feet down. Pull your heart forward. Drop shoulder back. Slowly. Inhale, hands and knees will plank. And the next time you cross down.
We can't hear you, just.
Take 2 breaths in. Oh, they can't hear me. Oh no. Can you not hear me now? Can you hear me now, Robin? No, okay. So headset died. Cool. Let's go back to downward facing dog. Am I echoey or just one? Oh, never mind. Roberta's got two. Why do you have two? Oh, okay. Barbara, can you hear me? Yes, great. That's cool. How did that pull?
We can now hear you, but I can't see you. Oh, no, I see sorry. Yeah, I see the one.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
No.
You're echoing.
But it's probably,
The computer is muted. No, maybe not. Now is the computer muted? Now can you hear me twice? We're good now, Barbara and Laura. Great. Okay, cool. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you, Roberta. So Roberta ran. Now we're good. Okay, that's good. We needed a break anyway. So everybody sit down. No, we're gonna do our back bends now. Oh boy. I'm gonna demonstrate and you guys get to pick whichever adventure you want to follow, okay? Okay, cool. So option number one is you are going to sit on your shins and you're going to separate your knees as wide as you want to. I would encourage you to sit on a blanket because, well, I don't know, my shins are sensitive. And then your blocks are here if you want them. This is option number one. You're just going to plant one hand, you're going to breathe, and you're going to lift. And you're going to do that about 4 times on each side. And it feels very nice. This is option number one. And you just might do that. Option number two, you're going to bring your legs more parallel. You're going to stand on top of your shins. And then we're going to start by bringing your hands to heart center. And you're just going to push your hands into your sternum. You guys get to watch and then you get to choose. Yeah. And you might just choose to stay here. Some of you will curl your toes under because it makes it easier to get to your feet. And then you'll just lean back and take ustrasana. So you get to choose whichever option you want to take. You can try both as well and see how that goes. So give it a shot and have fun. Yeah, so the first one is you're basically sitting in a child's pose, and then you just shift one hand back and you lift the opposite arm up. And it's just kind of nice because, yeah, both bus stops might be nice, and your big toes are touching behind you because it is kind of like a child's pose. And you're just pausing and you're breathing, and you're using the inhale to come up into the back bend and the exhale to come down. And it just feels nice, right? It's a nice little stretch along the arm that's lifted over your head. It's a nice gentle back bend, and you're just feeling how that feels. And so those of you that are doing that, you're doing about 8 of those. And then you'll go to downward facing dog and pause. And then those of you that want to try the other version, you walk your shins to parallel. And then you might just start by keeping your hands here, just pressing your chest forward and pushing the tops of your shins down. You're like, yeah, that's my camel. And you might be happy as a clam there. Some of you might curl your toes under because you already know that your feet are pretty far away. And then you'll just keep pushing your sternum into your chest and you'll lean back and maybe reach for one foot and then maybe reach for the other foot. And if you are touching your feet, maybe bringing your hands to the inner edges of your feet and then pushing your feet into your hands into your feet. It just gives you this fun stretch across your chest. And you just pause and you breathe. And when you're ready to come out, you gently come out, and we're all going to go back to downward facing dog to undo all that fun torture. And you just pause in down dog. And in this down dog, I want you to be really still, just to allow the vertebra to unwind, to allow the legs to straighten. Great. Nice work. And then very gently, you'll lower your knees down to the mat. Cool. And just because it's been a while since we've done this, I might need to demonstrate this too. You're going to extend your legs long in front of you. You're going to sit on your hands with your palms facing up. Then you're going to bend your elbows, draw your shoulder blades onto your back, your heart lifts forward. And then you can start to try to reach your crown towards the floor, but the shoulders are hugging onto the back body and you're pushing down. When you're ready to come out, chin comes to chest. You have to awkwardly undo your hands and you'll lay down onto the floor.
This is like fish cooking.
It's fish pose, yep. That looks very nice, people. And you just stay as long as the breath is comfortable for you. And then when you're ready to come out of that, you awkwardly take yourself out of it and you lie down. And it's always the weirdest part to unfish your hands from your butt. Like, why is this not easier to do? And when you're down, I want you to notice what specifically is happening with your head. You might need to tuck up your chin to the chest a little bit to find the long neutral vertebra or curves of your vertebra. And you just take 3 to 5 breaths there, being long, being lazy, maybe opening the arms in any way that feels better than whatever we were just doing. And you just pause and you breathe. Nice job. Nice, long, steady, smooth, deep breath. And some of you will choose to stay here for quite a bit longer. Some of you will bend your knees and put your feet on the floor. Okay. If you put your feet on the floor, fantastic. I want you to draw your knees up towards your armpits, the knees to your armpits. Hold on to the tops of your respective knee shin things. And then open your legs as far as they'll go wide, and then pull your knees away from your hands so it feels like you're in this weird, awkward, happy baby. And you can practice pressing your knee into your shin opposite. Oh, how do I explain this? Think of pushing your knee into your hand, and you can sort of traction out your spine. It's like a little rocking movement right to left. Maybe I shouldn't say right to left, more like up and down. That doesn't make sense either. Yeah, you're doing fantastic. No, it's more like you're tractioning your spine up towards your head. You're literally just, so I don't know how, that's like.
But it's like you're it's like you're moving your knee away from your shoulder.
Yeah, you're moving your knee away from your shoulder. That's a good description. So it's not right to left, it's more down towards the bottom of your mat.
Cartoon character like that.
Yes, it is a weird. Yes, but doesn't it feel good on your spine? Yeah, okay. I don't know how to describe that, but it feels really fantastic. I do, like near my butt, my sacrum. Great. And some of you will stay, keep doing that. Some of you will draw the soles of your feet together, grab the outer edges of your feet, push your feet together in this weird Supta Baddha Konasana position so that you can really widen your knees out and then really drop your pelvis to the floor and just feel how that feels. And again, you're trying to find length along the vertebra as you breathe. And some of you will be happy to stay there. Some of you will draw your feet up towards the sky, your knees towards the floor for Ananda Balasana proper. I don't know. When I did this, I was like, wow, my outer hips are like, that was fun. So you just pause and you breathe and you see how that's going. Yeah. Fantastic. And then when you've had enough of that, you'll hug your knees into your chest. And then you'll plant your feet on the floor. Go ahead and open your arms out into a T shape. And then this is your choice, but I'll just instruct the same leg. So cross your right leg over your left thigh. Some of you will pull your legs to the right for an IT band stretch. Some of you will lift your hips and draw your hips to the right and then let your legs fall to the left for a spinal twist. You okay there? Okay. You just pause and you breathe. And you just pause and you breathe. And you just pause and you breathe. Okay. And on your next in-breath, you'll come back up through center. You'll uncross the legs. Just pause for a moment in center, and then when you're ready, you will try the other side. So your left leg will cross over, and if you're taking the IT band stretch, the legs will fall to the left. If you're taking the other spinal rotation, then you'll lift your hips to the left and let your legs fall to the right. And you just pause and you breathe. You pause and you flow, and you pause and you breathe. Nice work. And then when you're ready, you'll inhale and you'll come back up through center. And then the very last thing, because we didn't do an inversion today, which I'd wanted, but we didn't do that. So you're going to just reach your feet up towards the sky. Just reach them up. And you just pause here and you breathe here for a few breaths, allowing the blood flow to reverse course for a little bit. And you'll take about 3 or 4 more breath cycles here. This is hilarious. I've never seen so much leg movement. We've got like a Busby Berkeley film going on here. Choreography of the feet. Okay. We did neglect our feet today, Sandy. I'm so sorry. I had a dream about that last night too, and I guess I should have changed things. I did actually. Go ahead and bend your knees and plant your feet. I know the weird things I dream about. I have so many dance related dreams, so I think that's why they're like, did not pay attention to your feet. Okay. And then when you come down, you will go ahead and check in with your body. And just to start, you might take Supta Baddha Konasana, you might take constructive rest. Just take a moment to find some neutral pose in order to figure out what other shape or shapes you might want to explore. And then when you feel like you've done that, and you feel like you have a good idea of what it is you'd like to try next, by all means, go ahead and do that. It did ask that you have a strap, so some of you might want a thigh root. That might feel nice to you. Some of you might be like, yep, I'm ready for Shavasana, and I'm going to go there. Whatever you pick is a-okay. I just encourage you to choose the best option for you at this point in time. And notice that your ability to make a choice ultimately depends upon your ability to be completely, totally present. And then those that are still exploring, keep on keeping on. You do whatever you're doing. Those of you that are starting to wind down, I do encourage you to take the opportunity to fidget and settle so that you really feel like you can come into a complete state of surrender. Because in order to actually be present, we do kind of have to surrender. It's this weird little thing. We have to surrender to things being other than they are, to people being other than they are, situations being other than they are. And those of you that are still exploring, keep doing what you're doing. You're pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing what's happening for you in this moment. And then once you do start to settle, once you find yourself into Shavasana, I would encourage you to take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then after you've taken those 3 deep breaths, we're going to allow, we're going to allow our awareness to return back to the container of our torso. And I want you to imagine that you have a hand on your heart and a hand on your abdomen. And again, breathe equally into both those points. Filling the chest and the belly at the same rate. Emptying the chest and the belly at the same rate. You'll then begin to bring your awareness to the back of the body. Breathing into the low back and the space between the shoulder blades. Seeing if you can fill the front of the body and the back of the body at the same rate. And then lastly, you'll bring your awareness to the sides of the body. Imagine you've got 2 more hands there and breathe into the front, the back, and the right and the left, same rate. Noticing that as you do this, the breath naturally starts to release any muscular tension that might exist. So take your last few breath cycles here, and then you'll just let the breath go and to fall into its natural involuntary rate. And I'll leave you here with you for a few moments, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. When you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. Notice if there's any part of you longing to linger in this shape. And if so, please stay here. When you are ready, allow movement to enter into your physical form, slowly and gently. Those in stillness, again, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, you'll eventually start to make your way to one of your sides. From there, you'll roll your chest more towards the floor. You'll press into your top hand and slowly make your way to vertical. When you are upright, I do encourage you to sit on something, whether it's a block or a blanket. And similar to how we started, if you need to remove any flesh from underneath your sit bones, please do so. Plant your hands wherever is comfortable for you. Maybe keep the gaze soft or the eyes closed. And then again, find the width through your base, through your pelvis. Find that deep rooting, that deep sense of connection. And then from there, you'll stack the vertebrae right on top of each other, bone by bone. Allow the shoulders to soften down the back. Relax any tension around your throat, your jaw, your tongue. Allow the eyes to soften back into their sockets. Release any tension in your fingers. And just take a moment to check in and notice how you're breathing. Satya is one of the most important yamas, right up there with ahimsa, which is to do no harm. And it seems that when we can actually practice it, it makes so many other aspects of our life so much easier. Not that it's easy, it just has this compounding effect that makes life easier. Yet the irony is that in order to actually do that, to know one's truth, to speak one's truth, one has to be fully present. They have to be attentive and alert to what is going on for them so that they know how to respond. So as you're here for these last 3 to 5 breath cycles, I want you to just notice what the body is telling you. Where there are places that you can soften? Where there are places that you can fortify? Where is there ease in the body? Where is there energy, life, exuberance? None is better than the other. You just want to be attentive to them all. When you're ready, draw your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Really press the palms into each other. Receive the weight of the thumbs into your sternum. Press the sternum back into the thumbs, and then soften any tension around the shoulders. Exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in through the nose. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. The light, the breath within me, honors and salutes the light, the breath within each of you. Namaste.